How do you avoid gaining weight by adding all that fat to your already fatty carnivore or ketogenic diet? Now let's go right on into the subject of how do you not gain body fat while adding more fat to your already fatty diet. Okay, somewhere along the line where this whole carnivore trend exploded, and then we have fasting, and then that exploded, and then people combine the fasting and the freaking carnivore, and then snake diet and lion diets, types of diets, meat-based diets came around, and people were shoving pounds of meat down their gullet. And in the beginning, people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. I hate vegetables. It's annoying to cook them. Some people had a drop in their insulin. Some people's inflammation went down. And then people have started to develop problems. That's where I come into the whole situation. Now look at my comment section, and this woman's like, okay, let me get this straight. Like, how does make it make sense? How am I not going to get fat eating fat? All right. Let's go down the rabbit's hole. Fat, right? Dietary fat, butter, does not incite insulin. Insulin is required in an emergency when you go over a teaspoon of sugar, carbohydrate. When you go over a teaspoon, because you can match glucose and insulin if you're under a teaspoon, 5 grams. The problem is that when you eat a cup of rice and drink some juice and have some wine after, and earlier in the day you had chocolate or something with something sweet, you have gone way over that 5 grams of carbohydrate, or rather sugar. Yes, because carbohydrates, rice and bread and pasta, converts into glucose. Once it's digested and gets into the bloodstream, and it's pretty much sugar. So your body can only handle about 5 grams successfully without a problem. And that's why our hunter-gatherers, if you had some tubers, or if you had some wild spinach, for example, let's say, yes, people would eat wild spinach around the world, or even berries. And you just have this, because berries are bitter in the wild before man starts to Frankenstein it to have more fructose. But you have 5 grams, and the body can successfully take that glucose, use it as energy. Easy breezy. Once we start getting into the starches, the carbohydrates, the processed carbohydrates, if you take a piece of bread and you stick it in your mouth, it'll start melting immediately. By the time it hits your gullet, your stomach, you don't have to digest that much. If you eat broccoli, it's going to be crunchy. If it sits in your mouth without swallowing, it's not going to dissolve. The fiber is going to slow down the rate at which glucose hits the blood in that broccoli. And that's why the carbohydrate count, or the glucose count in your blood, is a lot less than a piece of bread. All right. You cannot get energy off of protein. It's either going to be fat or it's going to be carbohydrates. So a lot of you guys who are watching my channel are coming from the carnivore cult zealot reality. That's what I call it. I know you don't like it. It's not utilized as a medicinal purpose for the short term like it should be. With that said, when you eat fat, I know you guys have been waiting for this. When you eat fat, it does not incite insulin. If you can keep your blood sugar moderate to low, you're going to use everything in the bloodstream as energy without storing excess fat. You don't need insulin to get ketone productions cooking and utilized. You need insulin when you have all that sugar in your blood, because sugar circulating in the blood more than 2 hours damages cells. It's called advanced glycation end product, and that's the protein in your cell, and it gets damaged, and then the action potentials within the cell begins to die off one by one, and you age and develop disease and get fat, store more fat. And then your body starts to signal estrogen, estrone. And then that's going to signal your body to store more fat. I know. If you starve yourself, cortisol has to be released to break down amino acids, proteins in your skin, and the collagen makes you look old. If you fast too much, to regulate your blood sugar. It's so funny, this woman on my comment section is like, oh, it's really listening to a woman who's just like knows nothing about fasting. I was like, why are people watching my shite if they don't like what I'm saying? Make it make sense. Okay. Now, with that said, when you eat fat, if you keep your stress down, because stress creates sugar in the blood through gluconeogenesis. If you don't fast, if you don't drink alcohol, or do anything that's going to spike the blood sugar, anything that's stress, pharmacological interventions, they spike your blood sugar. Fasting, stress, toxins, doesn't matter. If you want to moderate your blood sugar, you connect to circadian rhythm, you breathe, you oxygenate the body, you get sun and vitamin D, and you eat high quality food, and you eat every couple of hours, because we are not like our hunter-gatherers who have destroyed gut walls. So now we are very sensitive to everything. We have heavy metals up the wazoo, and parasites which feed on the heavy metals. And anything and everything with our modern human bodies becomes sensitive to spikes in blood sugar. And when your blood sugar spikes, your body releases insulin to deal with that sugar, because sugar is sitting outside of the bloodstream too long, or in the bloodstream, outside of the cells, in the bloodstream circulating, damages cells. And that is why you don't get fat on fat if you balance everything else. In fact, you can eat that fat and it can convert into ketones, and you can use that for energy rather than carbs, because you can only get energy, true energy, from carbs or ketones or fat. And if you eat carbs, then you go up and crash and up and down, and you've got the problem with timing things out, and the excess glucose and the glycation of cells and the damage, hypoglycemia. But with getting into ketosis, you hum and you are in a homeostatic balance. That means that your body can relax and you can sleep better, and the gut can finally heal. But it's a journey, because your body's used to carbs, and it can make sugar without you even eating any sugar. You don't get fat from fat when you make ketones and you use them. And to do that, look at my videos, because I've done 1 million, almost 3,000, on trying to keep your stress down. And stress manifests in all ways. What makes you fat is broken hormones. Thyroid, estrogen, non-balanced hormones. It's your hormones, my people. It's not the calories. It's what the hormones do with the calories. And of course, proper equipment to even digest your food, keeping the inflammation down. Comment below. Does this make sense? Are you still confused? What else would you like me to talk about? And I'm out. Energy at 58, and soon on my way to 59. I can't wait.